I wanted to make a video about how I lost 40 pounds in about 10 to 12 weeks in the hopes that it would help somebody else going through the same thing. I'm much more motivated by normal women than I am by celebrities or really anybody else that I can't feel like I can relate to. How I decided that I wanted to lose weight was I saw a really unflattering photo of myself, and that was the first time that I realized I had gained a lot of weight. I'm about 6 feet tall, so I have to gain a lot of weight before I really see the weight difference. I have a lot of friends who are about 5 feet tall and they tell me, hey, 10, 15 pounds, I'm already wearing a different size. From 220 to 180, I can fit into a size 12. So it's kind of hard for me to be able to tell. Once I saw that photo, I started kind of reflecting and realized that I had also been feeling more sluggish and that about like really 10% of the clothes in my closet were feeling comfortable to wear. So anyway, I saw that photo and I was like, holy shit, that's like a bad photo, right, babe? My babe is my husband, right? So I'm like, holy shit, babe, that's a bad photo of me, right? And he's like, no, you look nice.
Emotional damage.
And of course, that's what I looked like to him, which was heartbreaking to hear. So that was another reason that I wanted to lose weight, is because, I saw this photo, didn't really recognize myself. Turns out that's what I look like to everybody else. Another thing is that I have chronic pain. It's not super bad. A lot of the time I can just treat with like lifestyle management, but I was really, really hopeful that if I lost some weight, some pressure would be taken off of that part of my body and I would have some relief from the pain. So that actually did not come true, unfortunately. But the hope was there. So after that, I was like, okay, I want to lose weight. How do I become motivated to lose weight? And this is when I kind of hopped on YouTube and was watching videos of other people who had lost 40 pounds or however many pounds that I felt like I needed to lose at that time. And I came across a lot of like normal women. And what I mean by that is women with marriages and children and jobs, not people who are like influencers or celebrities, but people who live on somebody else's schedule, but still found the time to take care of themselves. And one common theme that I kept coming across was people were saying, hey, you need to believe that you can lose weight and you need to make time for yourself to lose weight. And that made a huge impression on me. So I'm in my 30s now. I got diagnosed with PCOS in my early 30s. There's a component of it that's insulin resistance. And we also know that women with PCOS have a lower muscle mass than women without PCOS. So your basal metabolic rate is lower and your body is more resistant to insulin and pumps out more insulin to overcome that. So it's basically a perfect stew to make you more likely to gain weight. So after hearing this diagnosis from the gynecologist, I had basically convinced myself, like, that's it. I'm never going to look the way that I did in college. It's over for me. But I had convinced myself, hey, there's nothing I can do about this. This is it. Like, I need to be on Ozempic or something to be able to lose weight, or I literally looked into gastric sleeve surgery. I talked to a friend who had gastric sleeve surgery. Like, that's how far I had gotten. And I had talked to my husband about it. And I said, hey, if this year I don't lose the weight, I am going to pay out of pocket for the gastric sleeve surgery. My insurance wouldn't cover it and my BMI wasn't high enough, but my BMI was high enough that I felt uncomfortable in my body. But after watching these videos of people who looked like me and had lives like me losing weight, it started to seem more and more possible to me. So then the next step was I had to start calorie counting. I've gone through phases of calorie counting before. I used the Lose It app. I used to use MyFitnessPal, but then they made it so you had to pay like $100 a year or something to use the scanning feature, and I didn't want to pay for that. So downloaded the Lose It app and started really weighing out my food. So I am a terrible food eyeballer. I will be like, oh, that's only like 1 tablespoon. I only used 1 tablespoon of honey. But once I started actually weighing out my food, I realized that like 1 tablespoon of honey was actually 4 tablespoons of honey. I think a tablespoon of honey has 60 calories. I could be wrong, but that's a huge number to be off, right? 60 versus 280, right? 240, 60 versus 240. And like, okay, 180 calories off may not seem like a big deal. Being 100 calories above your maintenance every single day for a year results in a 10-pound weight gain, right? So being 200 calories off because you're misestimating how much honey you're eating can result in a 20-pound weight gain. And I was doing that kind of all throughout my life, being like, oh, surely that was like a tablespoon of peanut butter, or I only use like a tablespoon of oil, but it was a lot more. Honestly, I feel like liquids are where I really suck at estimating volume. But yeah, so I started weighing out all of my food and trying to stay in a consistent calorie deficit. And I say the word consistent because I have this cycle of, I need to turn that setting off. I have this cycle of going and doing really well in terms of weight loss and then doing really poorly for like a really long time because I'll have one slip up. So I'll go get like fried chicken with my husband, and then I'll be like, oh, you know what, like I had fried chicken today and today's already ruined, so I might as well like eat ice cream and blah 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 and blah 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 blah. And I have like an insatiable appetite, so like if I like become fully unhinged, I'll eat like 4,000 calories for several days and not even like feel the worse for it. I'm truly like, the amount that I am capable of eating is both horrifying and also impressive. So anyway, I had to be in a consistent calorie deficit so that I wouldn't get that part of my brain tingling and then resulting in me eating like a bunch of bad stuff again. So yeah, I stayed in a consistent calorie deficit for about 12 weeks. And then on top of that, I exercised, but I had been exercising at the same level of strenuity, I don't know, for about a year and a half, and that hadn't resulted in any weight loss by itself. So I walk about an hour a day, I still do, and then on top of that, I exercise for 30 minutes 5 times a week. I do the elliptical 3 times a week, and then I do strength training twice a week, which I freaking hate strength training, but I think it's kind of important for your bones. So other than that, really what I had to do is just be patient with my body and wait. So the weight hadn't come on overnight. It wasn't going to go away overnight either. So having faith in myself, continuing to believe in myself, just to make sure that, you know, I was staying on track with my goal. But yeah, it honestly wasn't that hard. I have about 20 more pounds that I want to lose, and I started another cutting phase a couple days ago. So I'm super excited to see what happens next on this journey. If you want to subscribe, I'm going to try and keep up some content here, especially as I kind of think about more stuff that helps me. But I don't want to only talk about like weight loss because it's exhausting to think about. So I'm sure there's going to be some other stuff too.